Today, I'll be discussing Viking's unveiling of the world's first hydrogen-powered cruise ships as reported by Cruise Hive, exploring not only the ships, but also hydrogen derivatives like ammonia and other fuels. Next, an MSN article examines how experts and industry leaders view hydrogen as the fuel of the future of U.S. agriculture and energy security. And finally, another MSN report details the deployment of hydrogen fuel cell trucks on Georgia's roads, marking a significant step for heavy-duty transport. All of this on today's Hydrogen Podcast. Our first segment comes from a Cruise Hive article published on April 8th of 2025. Viking unveils first hydrogen-powered ships, orders 2 vessels. Viking, in partnership with Italian shipbuilder Fincantieri, has introduced the Viking Libra, the world's first cruise ship powered by hydrogen, set to debut in late 2026 with zero-emission capability. A second vessel, the Viking Estrella, will follow in 2027, and Viking has ordered 2 additional ships for delivery in 2030, bringing its ocean fleet to 15. This move aligns with Viking's commitment to sustainable cruising, building on its hydrogen-ready Viking Vela, delivered in December of 2024, which can be retrofitted for hydrogen use. The Viking Libra, a 998-passenger ship, uses liquid hydrogen stored on board for propulsion and electricity via fuel cells, achieving zero tailpipe emissions of particulates like NOx, SOx, and PM2.5, which are significant pollutants from hydrocarbon-based marine fuels, emitting 1 to 2 grams per kilowatt hour of NOx and 0.1 to 0.2 grams per kilowatt hour of PM2.5, per the International Maritime Organization, or IMO. A 6-megawatt fuel cell system operating at 60% efficiency delivers 20 kilowatt hours per kilogram, powering the ship for 1,000 miles at 15 knots, requiring 50 tons of hydrogen per voyage. Hydrogen is stored at minus 253 degrees Celsius in cryogenic tanks occupying 100 cubic meters for 50 tons. With refueling at ports like Cadiz, which hosted the hydrogen-ready Viking Neptune in 2024. The ship also features a hybrid system using liquefied natural gas, or LNG, as backup, reducing emissions by 20% versus traditional fuels per the U.S. Department of Energy. Beyond direct use, hydrogen derivatives like ammonia and methanol, where hydrogen is a primary feedstock, are relevant to maritime application. Ammonia, produced via the Haber-Bosch process, uses 8 to 10 tons of hydrogen per ton of ammonia, emits zero particulates when combusted, making a promising marine fuel. A 1,000-ton ammonia tank could power the Viking Libra for 2,000 miles, though challenges include toxicity and lower energy density, which is 5.5 kilowatt hours per kilogram versus hydrogen's 33 kilowatt hours per kilogram. Methanol, synthesized from hydrogen and CO2, offers 6 kilowatt hours per kilogram and is easier to store, with Viking exploring its use in future ships per Fincantieri's 2022 hydrogen deal with Viking. These derivatives could reduce the maritime sector's 1 billion tons of annual CO2 emissions by 10 to 15%, this per IMO estimates, while eliminating 5 million tons of NOx and 1 million tons of PM2.5. Economically, the Viking Libra's construction costs about $400 million, with $50 for the hydrogen system, $300 million for the hull, and $50 million for the interiors. At $5 to $6 per kilogram, fuel costs are $250,000 to $300,000 per voyage for 50 tons versus $200,000 for LNG, reflecting a $50,000 to $100,000 premium. The ships generate $10 million per year in revenue with 998 passengers at $1,000 per passenger over 10 voyages, with a $1.5 to $1.7 million profit, which is a 10 to 12% IRR, factoring higher fuel costs. The 2 new ships at $800 million total cost adds 2,000 passengers, $20 million in revenue, and 500 jobs, boosting Viking's $5 billion fleet value by 16%. The global hydrogen maritime market, $1 billion in 2025, is projected at $10 billion by 2030 per McKinsey, with Viking targeting 5% of that market. The establishment narrative touts hydrogen as a silver bullet, but challenges do remain. Hydrogen's low volumetric density requires 4 times the storage volume of LNG, and refueling infrastructure is limited. Only 10 ports globally support hydrogen, this per the IMO. Higher fuel costs at $5 to $6 per kilogram also strain profitability, requiring subsidies or premium pricing to offset. Still, Viking's initiative sets a precedent for zero-emission cruising, leveraging hydrogen and its derivatives to transform maritime sustainability. Our second segment draws from an MSN article published on April 7th of this year, H2Go, how experts, industry leaders say U.S. hydrogen is fuel for the future of agriculture and energy security. The U.S. agriculture sector, consuming 800 million gallons of diesel annually for machinery, emits 1 million tons of NOx, 200,000 tons of SOx, and 500,000 tons of PM2.5 per the EPA. Hydrogen offers a zero-emission alternative, with experts like Dr. Sarah Thompson from the National Renewable Energy Laboratory, or NREL, advocating its use in fuel cell tractors and ammonia production. A hydrogen fuel cell tractor using a 50 kilowatt system consumes 1 kilogram per hour or 24 kilograms a day, covering 100 acres a day at 60% efficiency versus diesel's 10 kilowatt hours per gallon. A 24 kilogram tank stored at 700 bar costs $120 to $144 a day at $5 to $6 per kilogram, a $40 to $64 premium over diesel. Hydrogen also powers ammonia production. 1 ton of ammonia requires 8 to 10 tons of hydrogen via the Haber-Bosch process, and the U.S. produces 13 million tons of ammonia yearly, needing 130 million tons of hydrogen, this per the USDA. Blue hydrogen at $5 to $6 per kilogram via steam methane reforming, or SMR, with CCS increases ammonia costs to $600 per ton from $500 per ton from gray ammonia at $2 per kilogram, but cuts NOx emissions by 1.3 million tons. Economically, a 100 megawatt SMR plant with CCS costs $400 to $600 million, produces 20,000 tons of hydrogen annually. Supplying 10,000 tractors requires 12 such plants, adding $146 to $175 million per year in fuel costs versus diesel, though saving $1 billion in health costs, this per the EPA. The Inflation Reduction Act's 45V tax credit adds $60 million per plant, reducing effective cost to $2 to $3 per kilogram, boosting IRR to 15%. Jobs include 3,000 to 4,000 for 1 gigawatt, adding $200 to $300 million to rural economies. The U.S. hydrogen market, which is $15 billion in this year, reaches $50 billion by 2030, McKinsey, with agriculture at 10% of that market. This aligns with energy security by reducing diesel imports, leveraging 100 trillion cubic feet of natural gas reserves. However, the narrative of hydrogen as a quick fix overlooks infrastructure gaps. Only 1,000 refueling stations exist, needing 10,000 by 2030, this per the DOE. At $5 to $6 per kilogram, adoption faces economic hurdles, requiring subsidies to compete with diesel. Still, hydrogen's role in agriculture reduces particulate emissions and enhances food security. Our third segment comes from an MSN article dated April 7th of this year. Hydrogen fuel cell trucks hit the roads in Georgia. Benore Logistics Systems, Inc., in collaboration with Hyundai Motor Group and HCWO Logistics, a joint venture between Hyundai and Globus America, has deployed 14 Hyundai XCIENT hydrogen fuel cell trucks in Savannah, Georgia, to support logistics for the Hyundai Motor Group Metaplant America, or HMGMA. These Class 8 trucks carrying 40-ton loads aim to decarbonize heavy-duty transport, which emits 2 million tons of NOx and 500,000 tons of PM2.5 annually in the U.S., this for the EPA. This deployment builds on HMGMA's earlier rollout of 21 XCIENT trucks in December of 2024, bringing the total fleet to 35 trucks. Each XCIENT truck features a 180 kilowatt fuel cell system and a 350 kilowatt electric motor delivering 470 horsepower and 1,650 pound-feet of torque through a 6-speed Allison 400 series transmission for optimal efficiency. This per Hyundai's specifications. With a range of 250 miles, each truck consumes 100 kilograms a day, storing hydrogen at 700 bar. Fuel costs are $500 to $600 a day at $5 to $6 per kilogram, which could be up to a $100 premium over diesel. A 1 megawatt electrolyzer supplies refueling stations in Savannah and Atlanta using 50 kilowatt hours per kilogram and consuming 8,760 megawatt hours per year at 5 cents per kilowatt hour. Hydrofleet's $33 million hydrogen production and refueling hub near Savannah's port supports 14 trucks daily, scaling to 50 trucks per this article. The 14 trucks eliminate 7,000 tons of NOx 1,400 tons of SOx, and 700 tons of PM2.5 yearly. Economically, each truck costs $500,000 with $150,000 for the fuel cell. The 14-truck fleet $7 million cost breaks even or loses or could lose up to about $500,000 a year versus diesel. The electrolyzer at $1 to $1.5 million produces hydrogen at $5 to $6 per kilogram, even with subsidies, netting $175,000 to $350,000 profit or a 10 to 15% IRR. Scaling to 100 trucks or $50 million, breaks even each year, creating 200 jobs and adding $20 million to Georgia's economy. The U.S. hydrogen transport market, which is $5 billion this year, reaches $50 billion by 2030, McKinsey, with Hyundai targeting 1% of that market. The narrative of rapid adoption overlooks infrastructure challenges. Georgia has 5 refueling stations, needing 50 for 1,000 trucks, this per the DOE. At $5 to $6 a kilogram, economic viability hinges on subsidies or diesel price spikes. However, Hyundai's partnership with Benore and HTWO Logistics demonstrates hydrogen potential to clean up heavy-duty transport, reducing health costs by $7 to $14 billion a year, paving the way for broader adoption. All right, that's it for me, everyone. If you have a second, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a good review on whatever platform it is that you listen to. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, whatever it is. That would be a tremendous help to the show. And as always, if you ever have any feedback, you're welcome to email me directly at info@thehydrogenpodcast.com. So until next time, keep your eyes up and honor one another.